Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane's been working with buyers and sellers in the Missoula market for over 25 years and shares her insights on the local housing market. Along with her trusted partners, Diane provides complete service for your real estate transaction and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk, KGVO. And good morning. Thank you so much for being a part of Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. As always, Diane lines up interesting guests that, they probably got some services that you could put to use, and that would apply to home ownership as well, whether you're buying or selling. We'll get to that. But we are visiting today with Envirostrip Northwest. They are your premier environmentally friendly stripping company. And I got Keith, Andrew, and Jeff all in the studio today for Missoula Real Estate Today. And Keith, we'll start with you. How did Envirostrip come to be? Who came up with the concept and all of that?
Well, good morning. Thank you, Danny,
Yes,
for
sir.
having us on board.
Yes, sir.
Envirostrip was an idea hatched by myself that we thought there was a good need for the product. There were two people in our business that are very automotive oriented, so we obviously saw the usefulness of stripping in the automotive world, but we have since found out that there are many, many things that we can do with this that we're learning every day, and we can relate that to a lot of home projects,
Right.
which we have done here lately.
Yeah. And a little bit about your background. I don't want to say what qualified you, but what is your background that led you to realize that, hey, I can develop this and I can do this?
Well, I owned a body shop for 25 years here
Okay.
in town, and so there's always a need to clean up some parts of some sort. And so we just thought that, well, there's certainly a market for it, and there really is no one out there doing it.
Yeah.
The other thing is that our process is similar to sandblasting, except that there are no free silicas, which are that are dangerous to your health and are being eliminated and illegal to use anymore. So our product is a recycled ground bottle glass. So we're using recycled products. They're non-toxic. They can hit the ground and won't affect plants or animals or kids or anything. So that was one of the main issues that we wanted to make sure that we promote.
What led you to that discovery? You realized because that is right, the long time traditional method used, essentially sandblasting, correct?
Right.
And what led you to realize that, hey, there's a better, more efficient method, and this is it?
Well, it was eliminating our ability to do a lot of stripping on things because of the sand and the hazardous nature of free silicas. So one night I was watching one of my automotive shows, and on the TV came an ad for these machines, and I sat and looked at that and went, wow, that's amazing. We can do wet or dry, although we prefer to do the dry. And so I sat down with my partners here and pitched the idea, and we spent about 6 months talking and thinking and trying to figure out our marketing strategies, and we all just kind of decided that it was a good idea, and we jumped in with both feet.
Yeah, I guess so. Looking over your website, which has a lot of really fascinating information on it, but one of the terms that you use is media stripping. Obviously, media means a heck of a lot different to me, something different than that. But what is that term? What is the definition?
Media, actually, our machines are able to utilize many different types of media. We can use walnut. We can use the recycled ground bottle glass. There's corn. There's plastics that are usable. We've tried some aviation type stripping on aircraft, and so we've done just a myriad of projects. But it seems here in the last month or so that everybody's getting out and getting spring fever and dragging things out of the garage and basement that they've been planning on doing for years. For instance, Sharon, that works here,
right?
She has a set of oak chairs and a table, and her husband's been threatening for many years to get those out and strip them down. And so she brought us one chair, and we did a little test blast.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely beautiful. Now,
Yeah.
our system does not work perfectly on every substrate. Some softwoods will dig in too deep if there's
Sure.
a lot of material on them. But for the most part, harder woods, it truly is amazing, the transition and how quick we can do the prep.
Yeah.
Where if you had to strip a chair by hand, everybody knows how ridiculously slow and
Oh, absolutely.
horrible a job it is.
This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate, and our guests in studio, Keith, Andrew, and Jeff from Envirostrip Northwest, and all of the different products that we could use your services on. Keith, you said you owned a body shop for some 25 years. Let's start with auto. Let's start with vehicles.
Absolutely.
What would some of the typical things that you would do for a vehicle with Envirostrip Northwest?
Well, we have a lot of people that we have the ability. We have a booth in the shop, and we also have 2 mobile units.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, if we're doing a complete vehicles, we're meeting and running into a lot of these guys in town that are building hot rods and restorations of classic cars, and so our services have been huge for them. We are able to go to their house and do the stripping, or they can bring us parts and pieces. And so we've met and seen a lot of very neat cars, and it's just a quick, efficient way to strip a vehicle. It leaves a very nice profile. By that I mean it requires very little sanding or prep after we blast to get it into an epoxy primer or something along those lines.
And after you strip, what does the owner of said vehicle do? Are we talking about now a new painting project? Or they're
right,
going to
it's down
redo?
to bare clean metal.
Yeah.
And so it exposes any problems or issues you have. So if they need to come back and weld or replace parts, they're starting with clean metal, and it just makes it much simpler.
Is it paint ready at that point, or do they have some priming and prep to do after the process?
Yeah, you need to put an epoxy sealer down to stop any kind of rust, and then after that, you can take your time, do your body work, your welding, and that sort of thing, and then come back and do all your finish work.
Yeah, you mentioned like hot rods and collector cars and things like that. I imagine you take on some, shall we say, a little bigger ones than that, like motorhomes and things like that. Are you?
Not so much motorhomes, but we do a lot of large trucks and things for the truck dealers here in town. They love us because we can blast a frame or parts, and they can roll it in the booth and paint it. They don't have any further prep work. And so we do a lot of that sort of thing. We've done everything from Neptune Aviation. We did a jet engine run-up chamber that was giant.
No kidding. Can you talk about that a little bit? That's
it was an
interesting.
interesting project. They procured this blast chamber, for lack of a better word, and it came from the East Coast, and the military used it to bolt jet engines in after they've rebuilt them. Has giant baffle chambers and all of this, and they fire them up so they're protected and you're not listening to the jet blast. So they brought this out, and it was a giant steel box, basically, the size of a school bus, and miscellaneous other pieces, and we cleaned that all up. They painted it, and they're currently using it for their BAE-6 jets.
How long did a project like that take you?
Actually, considering the square footage, I believe we completed that in 2 days.
Okay, that sounds pretty good.
So it was a fun project, just being out there with the Neptune guys, and it's always interesting out there. And, they were very, very happy with that. We did a deck on a bridge in Drummond, just clean up the concrete for resurfacing. We've done driveways, sidewalks, just a myriad of strange things that we run into.
Yeah. All right. Give me an odd.
For instance, we've just had some weird, random, odd things like a signal cannon.
A signal cannon.
A signal cannon.
Okay.
About a 3-foot cannon. We've done pedal cars. We've done
pedal cars.
We've done also for Neptune and for the Forest Service. We did about 90 plus seats for the smoke jumpers.
Excellent.
And so they bring them in at certain intervals for inspection, and so we stripped them down and they put them back together. So
okay.
Actually did a yo-yo, believe it or not,
You mean like the toy?
like the toy, only this was a kind of a high-end yo-yo.
Well, I would assume so,
So,
but why would a yo-yo require Envirostrip Northwest? What?
well, the guy was just customizing his yo-yo. Apparently, he's a very serious yo-yo
guess
person.
so, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we've done the school bell for Cold Springs School. We were called by the BLM office to go up to Johnsrid area and remove graffiti from a rock. Worked very well, very quick and easy and clean, and we are set up to hopefully do some work with the FWP at the new Bonner Park. There's a lot of graffiti apparently and things in the old rail tunnel, and so we're looking into that. And somebody brought in a giant cast cauldron, and so we blasted that. So you just never know what's going to show up at your door. Yeah, we have now in the shop right now a very large, heavy concrete sink that is going to be used by Paradise Falls for a flower pot out front.
I'll have to check that out. We do a local hunting and fishing program over at Paradise Falls every
Right.
Friday morning. So, yeah, once your work is done, I'll have to let Tom know that I talked to you, and I'll check it out.
And getting back to the real estate market, we do a lot of log homes. We did the Condon Library, which is a log structure, and we came in one day, basically, we completely stripped the entire building.
Wow.
And it was ready for stain, and they were very, very happy with the results. It takes old, aged logs and makes them clean and white and new, ready for refinish.
Beautiful. This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. We are with Keith, Andrew, and Jeff from Envirostrip Northwest, locally owned here in Missoula. What about cleanup on your end, Keith? Obviously, there's going to be some leftovers and debris and whatnot. What is the process for that? What happens there?
Sure, Danny. The cleanup is, like I said, the media is non-toxic, so it can just go into the lawn or whatever if we're doing patios or decks or anything like that. And other than that, it's just a matter of sweeping up or blowing it out and blowing off the surfaces when we're done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not too much cleanup involved unless we're in very tight spots.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked about auto vehicles that people bring to you, and this is, of course, a category that kind of goes hand in hand in that. But marine, I imagine folks, a lot of boat owners would like to come see and be able to use your services.
Yes, the boat owners, mainly what they like is our ability to clean the trailers up. And as we've all seen, most boat trailers take abuse and
they do.
kind of look bad. So I've done a lot of boat trailers for guys, and it's quick and easy. And we just did a 1950s antique boat trailer. A guy's restoring an old boat, and so that was kind of neat. Just the styling of it, the fenders and everything on it looked like something out of the 1950s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both blasted some small aluminum boats inside and out, so they were able to redo them. But
Yeah.
fiberglass tends to be a little different. Fiberglass boats probably are a little too porous for our system. We can't do everything.
You mentioned a lot of trailers, but boats too. Has there ever been any kind of a coating that you looked at and just went, what the heck? What the heck is that?
There are certain epoxies, and has a lot to do with thickness too. What we've run into on a lot of these, I've had looked at a lot of older homes in town, and an issue we run into is old lead paint. So we do not attempt to remediate lead finishes.
Okay.
The lead also is very, very hard, so by the time you blast through that, the wood behind it takes a beating. So there are some scenarios that we can't do, but for the most part, we just finished a deck up in the Miller Creek area last week, 40-year-old redwood, and it left a pretty good texture in it, but the owner loved it so much they were just going to clear it after that. It just brings out the colors, and we've done foundations for people that are stained up. We've done driveways with oily, nasty spots in them, garage floors. Then a patio furniture,
Right.
any kind of little project you've got around the house, retaining walls, that sort of thing. We did a log home in Plains for a gentleman, two-story log home, and three of us, and completed that in 10 hours. So that was top to bottom.
Getting back to, you'd mentioned the one of the coatings that you tend to steer away from, lead paint. If you can't do it, what are people going to do? Do you have recommendations, or is there anything anybody can do about that if that's the situation?
We thought about getting certified to deal with the lead finish, but it's quite a process, and it's I don't know what to tell you there. Some other people may have a better idea. We did a bid at Fort Missoula for the pillars, on those giant pillars on all the old buildings, and they had been painted with lead paint for 100 years out there. And we did a little test, and boy, that lead paint worked apparently, because it wasn't coming off easy. So we do
they don't
have
make them like that anymore.
No, that's right. We do have a few limitations, and typically what I'll do is, if we're looking at a home or a larger project, we will come out and do a test spot and make certain that the finish that they're looking for and we're looking for is on the same page. And so we've come out, gone around and done a lot of test spots in different places, and most of the time it works well.
I imagine you're seeing more of that too, as far as we'll tie this to real estate since it's a real estate show, but I did have our sponsor Diane Beck from Windermere Real Estate on the show a couple weeks ago, and she said, January, February, March, things in the market itself, the housing market itself, a little bit on the dormant side, not a lot going on, a few warm days, a little more sunshine and extended daylight and whatnot, and all of a sudden April just went boom. I assume that's carried into May. So I would guess that you're seeing a lot more of that at Envirostrip Northwest, where people are looking to, if I'm going to sell the home, I probably should do a little something with that and things like that.
Right.
What are some of the projects that you're seeing more of right now, from the standpoint of maybe it's a homeowner who, if they just want to do home improvements to make it look better, not necessarily to sell,
right,
but projects like that you're starting to see more of with the weather being like it is right now?
Yes, I was out looking at a home in Lolo here just last week, basically above the garage door in the peak. It's on the southern exposure, and it's peeling. That's all he wanted was to clean up that section. We go, okay, yeah, not a problem. We can clean that up. He can repaint. Another homeowner just wants a strip of soffits done around the edge of his roof. But just little projects like that you don't feel like scraping or grinding or all the horrible things that it's required. Our cleanup system works exceptionally well.
A lot of decks, no doubt, too.
A lot of decks, fencing, wood fences, metal or cast fencing type things, projects we've done. Yeah, a lot of garage floors. Rocky Mountain Diesel Building company here in town, they had a bad fire, and we went in and blasted all the ceiling beams from the smoke damage, and then the floor, 4,000 square feet of flooring, and it just cleans it up to bright, clean concrete.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, we can relate it to the real estate market in that we can help clean up and make much quicker the cleanup situations for painting or just making things look better.
Mm-hmm. You do boast that you're quite a bit faster than traditional methods without the chemicals or sand. Why is that so?
Just the effectiveness of our machines.
Okay.
They're large. We have a 50-horse diesel motor on one that produces a great deal of air. So like I said, we did a 2-story log house in 10 hours, top to bottom done.
Mm-hmm.
And so the owner had previously worked for 3 days and did about a 10-foot square. And he was going, I'm going to be doing this all summer.
What was that Envirostrip phone number again? He says it like 3 times in his commercial. I got to remember what that was.
Yeah, so when we got done with that, he just stood back and was so appreciative that he didn't spend the entire summer on a scaffold grinding and sanding on his log home.
Yeah.
Just cleans it up so much better because you're getting every nook and cranny. It's just so much faster. We can
Right.
cover a lot of ground.
This is Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. We've got Keith, Andrew, and Jeff with Envirostrip Northwest.
Put a bid last night. We have 2 log cabins up in the Blanchard Creek area, and so we just put a bid together for them last night. And
What do they need done? What do you got to do?
well, they're remodeling a couple of cabins up there, and just want to start with a fresh, clean log look.
Sure.
And they'll come back and re-chink it and recoat it, and they'll look brand new.
You mentioned log homes a couple times. How is that a lot different in terms of what you do, your services for stripping? Is that a bigger challenge, kind of a unique thing that requires a little bit different approach, or what is it about log homes?
We like them because of how fast and how beautiful we make it. It's just our ability to do a full-size log home, and we figure about 3 days on these 2 log homes by the time we get up in the mountains and lifts and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just so much quicker, cleaner. All the deck railings and decks, we just clean everything. Where traditional methods are hand sanding and scraping and grinding are just tedious at best, and the time required is ridiculous.
Do you ever wear those hazmat suits for any reason?
Yeah, we wear suits, dust masks,
Yeah.
goggles. We use full safety equipment whenever we're blasting.
Cool. I should have worn one today for the show to get into character.
There you go.
Yeah. Maybe next time you can bring me one.
I'll bring you.
In fact, we'll all get in hazmat suits. And, even though it's radio, I guess we could have just said.
Well, if we put a mask on you, it might become a little muffled.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
would recognize your voice.
Well, and I guess I could have just said we're in hazmat suits. We're on the radio. Other than the 4 of us, who the heck would know that? Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Oh, also a special thank you to some of Diane's marketing partners that help bring you Missoula Real Estate Today every weekend. Rob Fleming with Man Mortgage, Miles Link of Opportunity Bank of Montana, and Carol Blodgett from MakeItMissoula.com. We've got Keith, Andrew, and Jeff from Envirostrip Northwest. I don't even know if I asked you how long has Envirostrip been around. If I asked that earlier, I apologize, but I'm not sure if I did.
We're going on 3 years now.
Okay.
So we're really starting to learn and understand our equipment, and now in this period we have tested and tried just about everything. So
Yeah.
we are getting a lot more confident in what our abilities are, but we're willing to look at any project that anybody has, and we can do tests on it if there's a question. So there's no end to what possibilities are. And as I said, we have 2 mobile units, and we also are based out of Ron's Auto Refinishers. And so we have a booth there that you can bring your smaller projects in. We did a very ornate old wood-burning stove, random things that come in that you want to clean up and refinish.
Absolutely. I didn't ask you about physical location because, yes, you will obviously come to the job site, but people can bring items to you and your location. So you're just off Russell Street there?
It's Ron's Auto Refinishers at 919 Strand.
Strand,
It's
okay.
next to the old Flanagan's and just up the street from Subaru dealership. So parts can be dropped off anytime there, and we usually gather a few and then clean them up. And so there's constantly things going through the shop there too.
Been at it for a few years now. Do you anticipate any upgrades in the technology, the materials? Do you see anything on the horizon there that might maybe change the way you do things?
We have
a little bit?
adapted a lot of after using this so much, we have made adaptions and a few changes to make it more efficient for us and more efficient for the customer. We built our own trailer and have a removable pot that we can take up around houses and move around on decks and that sort of thing. So we're as flexible as possible.
And you did talk about a few of the success stories and big projects. I think that you'd mentioned a school building, for example, but as far as larger commercial buildings, that's something that that's one of your specialties.
We're willing to take a look at anything from a rocking chair to a jet run-up chamber or a bridge.
You'd mentioned a few of your success stories or things that you were proud of early in the show, but I just wanted to back up and see if anything else that you've done recently, or maybe even something that you've got on the docket, on the calendar coming up that you're pretty excited about, or something that you've done that you're pretty proud of.
Well, an aspect that we've come across here recently, and it's because of my son Andrew. He's got an artistic side to him, so we are taking our blasting to a whole new level. We utilize a plasma table and cut out different shapes or scenery, and a plasma table is basically an electric cutting device that you can on a computer plot out a picture. You give it to the plas table, it will cut it all out, and then we lay it on differing pieces of wood or laminated wood, and then we blast around that piece of metal. And then we can go in and burn and torch and different stains, and we're starting to come up with some really, really unique artwork.
Yes.
And so we're just getting started with that. So we're going to pitch that a little more on our Facebook site, and people can see what we have the ability to do there. And it's been a lot of fun. We're playing with different woods, textures and colors. With blasting into wood deeply, you get really unique structure and textures out of the wood. So it's kind of exciting. So we never know what we're going to run into. This one he just completed was about a 2x2 wooden with a dry fly. He did one for a gal that wanted a snowmobile scene with trees and mountains in the background.
Okay.
We've done one with a fly fisherman and, the scenery on the creek. And so the possibilities are absolutely endless. And
that's
so
awesome.
we're just kind of rolling into this, but if you look on our Facebook site, you might see some new things popping up, and we're kind of excited about that aspect.
Yeah. Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate, and we've got Keith, Jeff, and Andrew from Envirostrip Northwest, locally owned here in Missoula, and believe it or not, pretty much getting close to out of time. But before we run out of time, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want folks to know about?
Well, just give us a call with any project you have. That number is 544-5906, and we will take a look at any project you've got. We'll come test. We'll do whatever it takes to see if we can't make it happen. Okay.
Folks can visit your website too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our Envirostrip.com. Envirostripnwnorthwest.com.
Envirostripnw.com. Okay, got that.
And on our Facebook page, it'll show you the myriad of projects that we've done, pictures and short videos, so you can get an idea of how our equipment works.
Man, fascinating stuff. This is great. I'm glad you guys dropped by. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for having us in, Danny. We really appreciate the opportunity, and I hope we can help out with some projects around town.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today. We hope you found this morning's information to be helpful. If you have any suggested topics for any future Missoula Real Estate Today programs, or any questions about buying or selling, contact Diane Beck with Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@realtor.com or visit her website, homesinmissoula.com. That's homesinmissoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.
This is Riley Corcoran, the voice of the Grizz, with Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane, tell us, how long have you been in the real estate business?
Riley, I've been selling real estate now for 25 years. I grew up in the Flathead Valley, moved down to Missoula in the early 80s, and raised my family here. Been here ever since. Love real estate and love the Grizz.
Make sure you contact Diane at 360-7654 of Windermere Real Estate, one of the official realtors of the Grizz.